All right, we are recording. Um, do you want to give us a little bit about yourself?
I'm a professional procrastinator, as you can see there under my name. No, my name is Mars. Um, I'm from Indonesia. I'm now stuck in Australia. We've been stuck in Australia since 2008. Originally an aircraft modeler, but the boring type, aka not military. Because
Mm,
whenever people say aircraft model, they're like, "Oh, military jets." No, I like civilian aircrafts, which is yeah, I know it's really lame. So lots of seam removals at the same place all the time. Done the fuselage, lots of white, lots of long window decals and rapid tail decals. It's like pretty much the same thing. Um, Pretty much turned mecha slash like Gunpla only when I moved to Australia, so 2008, and just been kind of just doing Gunpla with a sprinkle of weep kits, and maybe like a little bit of something different like cars and dioramas. And recently got into bug painting as well, like
mm-hmm.
nature, like realism models for like teaching and education. So I will paint anything for money. That's basically me.
Will you pay me for money? That's the question.
Will you pay what? Pay
will you Will you pay me for money?
I'll pay you for money.
Will you pay me for money?
If I'm rich, I will definitely pay you.
No, I said pay me for money.
Pay you for monies.
Paint.
Oh, paint you. Oh, sorry. Like I couldn't hear you clear over the speaker. Would I paint you? Yeah, I would. Um, you can 3D print figures of yourself, and we can sell it as a limited edition thing alongside a jar of the creeping for scale models bath water. So it's basically just water with like nub sprinkles inside it. It'll be like and if you buy three, you get like something else. You get a bath gel. So it's
You
basically
get
like Elmer glue and like bits and pieces.
you get a heavily gooped Haro.
Yeah.
What's the goop? Nobody knows.
That'd be really cool actually. Like it's like a cool like everyone have their own branded paints. Like you have a professionally painted 3D figure of me plus bath water.
Mm-hmm. And we'll even drop ship an airbrush.
Or dropship an airbrush and some paints
Yeah.
or some Gundam bags.
Mm-hmm.
But that's me. Uh,
It's
I
nice to
love
have you here.
I love painting weird colors. Like I wish people would paint Gunpla non-standard colors all the time because I find standard colors really boring. Like, I love
Mm-hmm.
experimenting with colors, like looking at I guess like airliners liveries are still my biggest inspiration because like they always work, right? Like it works for their branding. So it's like, oh, I've never seen, uh blue or like sorry, green and orange and like yellow and it's like looks really vibrant, like it's really cool. I also take a lot of inspiration from just like, pop culture, anime. Um like I've done like Eva colored Zazabi and like Cyberpunk colored Barbados. Like it's just like a lot of like reference materials that I love to experiment. I also take a lot of inspiration from like tattoo culture as well. Like a lot of them, especially like neo trad or like traditional style, like they have really bold colors, like really good color separation. And I actually apply that a lot to Gunpla. It's like I treat Gunpla almost like I'm tattooing. So it's like how tattooists do things as well, and I find that actually really helpful because I can do things with the airbrush like tattooists do with their needles, like doing like blending and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
I found that like really interesting. So yes, that is me in a nutshell.
Nice to have you here today. For those of you who don't know, I am Jay with creeping4scale models.com. We are back with another wonderful artist interview after a little bit of a hiatus. But today we're going to be interviewing this lovely individual. Um,
I don't look like this, by the way, in real life.
they do, don't let it fool you.
Oh.
Handsome Squidward all around. But yeah, no, it's been a long time, and I'm happy to bring these back. And yeah, awkward introduction through and through on my end, but backpatism for you. So we're gonna go off with our first question. Let me just shuffle these around. All right. How do you develop your art skills?
How do I develop my art skills?
Mm-hmm.
These are very, very good questions that I've never even thought before. I guess coming from Indonesia, I was surrounded by a lot of great artists, especially in my hometown of Solo. Solo is the cultural center of Java. And I know I'll say that, and there's like a lot of people from Jogja is like, no, actually, we're the cultural center of Java. But what I guess most Indonesians can agree on, Central Java in particular, no matter where you're from, is a big cultural hub for Indonesia. A lot of the traditional batik patterns are from there. There's a lot of people making like shadow puppets, woodwork, metalwork, and all that stuff. A lot of great artists. Um, so me, like when I was growing up, I've always wanted to, I guess, be an artist in a way, even though if it's like as a hobby, it might not be like for a living, but like I've always wanted to do something related to art because I'm surrounded by like all of these great artists, all this great art like on a daily basis. Um, I remember developing my art the first time around. I actually had a mentor. He does like murals, like kind of like graffiti style
Yeah.
murals, but like Indonesian style. And that's my first like really encounter to like study, I guess, like study art. So learning like the basis of like I guess drawing anatomy from him and then color blending and like all that stuff. I learned that from him. I actually forgot his name. I'm sure it'll pop up. Then as I grew older, I actually wanted to become a comic book writer. So developing my art, I learned from like local comic book artists back then as well, and like a lot of the old school like Indonesian comics. Um, but then I really struggled, I guess, to find like an art medium that I would enjoy until I came across scale modeling, like if that makes sense. So
No,
at
I
first I
get it.
want to be like more of a traditional artist and comic books and painting all that stuff, but it just never quite clicked with me, or maybe I'm not skilled enough, or it just doesn't really jam with me until I got my first scale model, which is the RMS Titanic model, and I'm like, yes, this is the art
Mm-hmm.
medium that I want to develop further. Like I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed the build process, and it just sort of clicked. Even though I did a terrible job on my first Titanic model, my dad saved a lot of money to buy it for me, and then I got plastic cement everywhere. But
Oh.
even though I didn't really paint it or anything, like just the building process is something that I really enjoy. So after that, I bought like plate models, used rattle cans, and then just sort of like develop like skills into like I guess like more aspects, seam removal, all that stuff, decals. Um, but yeah, like I guess developing my art is always sort of like turned from a more pen on paper or like brush on canvas to more like building. So I guess it transformed from like drawing to building, and then like building to painting and all that stuff. Sort of so I remember there's a very clear, like looking back, there's a very clear progression of like what I want to do like as an artist. Even though nowadays I kind of try to hone my like sketching and painting skills better. Like I do like a little bit of like painting commissions on the side, like
Yeah.
traditional painting. But it's more to complement or like to take a break from scale modeling.
Oh, yeah.
So as I grow older, like I find like yeah, I really enjoy scale modeling more than painting. But I also now it's also it's very interesting because art, you evolve as a person, and then your art evolves with you.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm kind of like finding myself coming back to what I couldn't do when I was younger. So now I'm kind of like, oh, I want to try and get better at like painting or like drawing or like making comics, because that's something I didn't do very well. So now I'm learning again, also through a mentor in Indonesia, like how to do like graphic design and also like anatomy, because like I've forgotten. So yeah, that's my development anyway. Like I develop my art through interactions with other artists, and also finding like what works for myself
Mm-hmm.
like over the years. Like, and it's been a long, long journey.
It
Again,
always is.
yeah.
Like, I remember when I was younger, I got sent to an art program. So we had this nonprofit art program that started as an art program for juvie kids. And then over the years, it expanded into like just free art lessons for low income kids.
Mm,
And like younger me had so much social anxiety about like showing my art.
mm,
So we would do all these like sculptures and stuff, and my parents would be like, "Do you want to go to the art show for him?" And I'm like, "No." I'm like,
mm,
nobody I know needs to see that.
mm.
Which is funny because it's like you said, we kind of change and grow, and now everybody sees my crap,
Yeah,
whether they
yeah.
want to or not.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because like I've seen like my mentors and stuff, like their art style change as they grow older, or maybe something happened in their life and they take inspiration from that, and it just like a complete 180. Like most of my like favorite artists, like they're tattoo artists, and I've seen like they started like say doing portraits or something, and then they developed their own style, and it changed over the years. Like you see less and less of their previous work, and you see more and more of like their new work. Like it's still the same person, but their art style has completely changed, and I find it like it's really interesting, seeing different people. Maybe someone only straight builds Gunpla, and then they start customizing, and then like it's different, like they're reforming their art, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
completely different. It's like, wow, man, that's super cool. Like someone who's always done maybe standard colors now like tried something a little bit different, and it's like always really nice to see. Which is, I'm actually quite surprised. Like people say like, oh, I kind of enjoy seeing the bugs, like it's like a break from
I
Gunpla. I'm
love
like,
them.
oh. And I'm like, dude, like I thought like I'll lose bloody followers like posting so many bugs like in a row.
Like, I'm not gonna lie. If we go through on that like me visiting idea, I'm kidnapping all those bugs. I hope you're aware of that. It's just what it is. Like
Yeah, I love it. I love making the bugs. Like they're so much fun to make.
the
And the
ants,
clans are like less picky.
the ants are so phenomenal, and like
It's so big. Like I want to take a photo of it initially, like next to an actual ant hill. But
just
then like
grab
the
one
scale would
ant.
be like really weird because like it'll look like it's small, but it's not. It's actually massive. Like the ant is massive.
Like just grab one ant, put it next to the actual model, and just like the size comparison. Because like I can imagine that you could get like a specimen sample.
Yes, we got sent I got sent a specimen sample every time I do like one of these bugs as well. Like the stink bug, I got a specimen sample. I have to be very careful to like not throw it away, like not throw it away at like a place where someone can find it and then they'll freak out because like it's an invasive species, so
Mm-hmm.
I have to like return them. But yeah, we do get specimen samples as well, and it's like tiny. And if it's like really tiny, like the ant, they just give me like a bunch of blown up reference photos in
Mm-hmm.
a design document. So that's what happened. Yeah.
Yeah, because like I don't think people realize how scaled up those models are.
Oh yeah, they're like hella scaled up. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like they're
Absolute units.
big.
I love them.
I
Like,
love
cause
making.
I used to keep ants when I was younger. So like I saw those models and I'm like, wait a minute, that's a red imp. That's Solenopsis invicta. I know that species.
Yeah, and every time I get a new species, like I have to come to the briefing and they'll explain everything about what makes it really, really, really bad. And then like I've been to like the other bugs, and then the imported fire ant was new. So I
Mm-hmm.
came in to like the briefing about the red imported fire ant, and it was like, oh, did you know that they can make boats? Like ant boats, and they can travel down river in this big ant boats, and I'm like, holy shit,
Mm-hmm.
red imported fire ants are ruthless. Like they're just like, and then oh, and did you know that they can't sink because they perfectly balance their weight into these ant boats? Can you imagine like swimming down a river and then you see this fucking ant boat coming at you?
So, like, Texas was we have massive problems with the red imported fire ants. Um, so like Texas, whenever it rains really bad, people complain about like the swarms of like the imported fire ants just coming up from the ground. And like most people don't realize they're queens. They can have multiple queens for a colony.
Yeah.
So like you can kill one queen and there can be like five more.
You know, after the world comes to an end, it'll just be ants, you know.
Just ants.
Just be ants everywhere.
I ain't even mad. Ants.
It's so cool, but so scary.
Oh, can you just picture giant ants? You wake up one day and ants are just like super big. I'm out. I'm peacing out.
Oh yeah. Get the flamethrowers.
Like, ants are terrifying at the size they are. Just from like what they can accomplish. Then you scale it up and you're just like, game over. I'm out.
Yeah, that's it. I'm noping out.
Alrighty, let's go. All right, let's go to what do you struggle with in the hobby?
Sorry, in the hobby.
What do you struggle
What
with
do I
in the hobby?
struggle with?
Yep.
I always struggle with scribing because I actually have a condition in my eyes
Mm,
that sometimes I can't differentiate straight lines. So it's always a struggle for me, like making straight lines or scribing straight lines, because my eyes will tell me they're straight, but my brain would tell me it's not, or the other way around. There's actually, I don't know, there's like a condition.
mm,
There's actually a condition about this. So usually I'll have to ask Aiden to see like if it's something is really straight or not. It's not that I would get vertigo or anything if I see like, you know, a bunch of straight lines all at once, but when I do it in my head most of the time, it always looks and feels like it's not straight, which is
mm,
actually a problem for me as well. When I did fly my first flight school, I could never quite line up the aircraft to the center way of the runway because it's a straight line. It's like I need to shoot this straight line right in the middle, and I actually had to find a way to make it work for me, because every time I change to a different airport, it's like a different runway and they have
mm-hmm.
different markings. But one thing is the same, it's fucking straight lines. Like it kills
Yeah,
me. Straight lines kill me. So
I
I
feel you.
remember in my class, like I took the longest to nail solo landings because I would always be off. Like I land safely, but it's always a little bit off. And it might be okay for small planes, but once I start on the big jets, it's not. It's really inexcusable. You have to kind of hit the center line. But I managed to find a way to make it work. It's really ghetto, but it solved my problem. But I remember it's a struggle. Like I didn't think I would struggle in like with straight lines outside of scale models, but like it had implications in real life as well. But I still struggle with scribing. um do I want to get better at it? Obviously, but I've also succumbed to the fact that if I can never do it, then it's okay.
Yeah.
You know, people say like, hey, you know, the natural progression is like building, painting, and then decals and weather and scribing. And I'm like, no, 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 like if you can't do it, if it's not your jam, then don't force yourself to do it. So I've sort of like, I struggle with it. I know why I struggle with it. I can try and get around it. But if I can't do it, then I'm not going to beat myself over the head.
Well, yeah,
With
because you can't change, like, if you have a medical eye condition and people are like, well, why don't you scribe? And it's just like, fuck off.
Yeah, I can't do it. I tried. I can't do it. It's always a bit. It's always a little bit off, and it is more like I think it's a little bit off, and then people say, "Hey, it's actually not off," but my brain just keeps telling me it's off. So it's like really intrusive and really like I can't like my eyes say it's okay, my brain is saying like it's not okay. Other people say it's okay, and there's like this big disconnect, and it's just more annoying and like it really grinds my gears because I don't know who to trust because my brain is like telling me like it's 100% off, like it is not straight. But then sometimes like it is not straight, and other people are just like, oh, I think it's straight, but apparently it's not, and it's just like, you know what? I'm just not gonna do
Oh
it.
man, brains like picky things. Like I can't even front. I don't think I could describe a straight line if I wanted to.
Like I tried to use like the you know that thing with like the water, like with the bubble, and you have to put like the bubble in the middle because like it's level. It's like a
Hmm.
leveler kind of thing.
Yeah.
I've tried using that, and the level says that it's level, but like it's very obviously not straight. And even other people's like, yeah, that is not level. And I'm like, then how come the levels say it's level? I
Have
don't
you tried
understand.
the like the Dymo tape for
Yeah,
scribing?
yeah, I tried, but even I struggle to put it on, man. Like it's
Like I've scribed a few times and it has to be with the Dymo tape because
I've done it. I've used that, and it's just not for me. I feel like it just, I have to admit, I don't think I have the talent or the resources to actually do it. But yeah, that's what I struggle with. Still with until today, I still struggle with
I feel
scribing.
ya.
Yeah,
Like scribing's typical. Like not my cup of tea.
yeah. Not mine either. I just like seeing people stress about it. I like seeing like hardcore people scribing, because they stress about it. I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna like just sit here and just watch you stress.
Mm-hmm. Me with a lot of the hobby things. There's a nub
Yeah.
mark on that kit. I'm like, have you tried pouring paint on it? Can't see a mistake if you cover it with more paint.
Yeah, I know. Just weather it.
Just
You'll
stick it
be
outside for
fine.
just stick it outside for like 4 or 5 months. You get some actual weathering, and then you call it a day.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Like I can imagine in like the Australian weather and all that, you would probably get some interesting results.
Yeah, in Canberra in particular, it gets very cold to the negatives. And I've painted where it's just like only 1 or 2 degrees
Mm-hmm.
because my painting room is not painted. And there's been some very interesting effects going on. And sometimes it can get like stinking hot during summer. Like there are bushfires. Like Australia's always on fire during summer. And it gets like 41, 42 degrees where like the paint evaporates before it even can hit the surface.
Oh,
Like it's if it's like that dry, like this dry heat. And Canberra was hit by like a really bad bushfire a couple of years ago. Like it looks like you're in hell. Like everything is like smoky and red,
mm,
and it affects paint too because there's like smoke and soot in the air. So everything is kind of like splotchy and dusty. Even though like it's not really dust, but it's like all the smoke from the bushfire, like it affects the paints as well. So it is
yeah.
interesting experience for sure.
I can only imagine. Because I saw pictures of like all the bushfires that have happened last year in Australia, especially the ones where it was like with all the koalas and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, it's so sad. Yeah, like the koalas had to like evacuate.
Like I was the only reason I found out about like the koalas is somebody tried blaming getting syphilis from a koala bear,
I mean, they do carry STDs. Yeah,
and I just remember reading that, and I'm like, why? How do you
I'll
get?
show you.
How do you get?
Oh,
How do you get syphilis from a koala bear? But then it turns out you can get STDs from koala bears. It's very interesting. But the person who got like the STI, it wasn't like the strain like koala bears had. So that's how like the lady found out her husband was cheating on her.
Right.
Interesting times.
That is so weird. Hang on, I'll show you. I'll show you this. What if I? I'll show you like the difference in like air quality
Mm.
between. There it is. So that's from the view from my apartment.
Ooh.
The day of the bushfire and like literally the day before. Like that's
Mm.
how bad. Like that's how
Yeah.
bad it got.
That's
Like it's so.
gnarly.
And I think for like for a week, Canberra air quality is worse than India and China combined. It was like the most unhealthy place in the world,
Mm-hmm.
and we had to have like a respirator
That's
because
rough.
like yeah, it was like, and I was coughing the entire time. Like it was so irritating for the lungs too. But like that's how it's bad. Like how bad it got. Like no visibility, and like it went, I think like it went all the way to like my apartment as well. Like yeah, it's like out of a like a post-apocalyptic movie because
Mm-hmm.
it's so, the smoke was so thick.
Well, like I can only imagine because like I saw how hellhole our air quality got when Canada was burning down last year. I can only imagine what it's like in Australia.
Like this is the worst I've seen it. um yeah, like I can't even see out.
Oh,
Yeah, it's like it's just smoke. It's all smoke. I'm like, ah.
that
And no,
is
air purifiers don't do shit. Like,
not against that because most of the ones you can buy in the store aren't meant to handle
yeah,
air
it's
quality
just
like that.
too much.
Oof, that's rough.
Yeah.
Wildfires. What are you
Yep.
gonna do about them? A lot, actually. So we're gonna cut for a quick little. Camping season is approaching for many, many individuals in the North America. Remember to follow your local fire guidelines. If they say don't light a fire today because it's really fucking windy, don't light a fire.
Yeah, don't do it. Same with Australia as well. We have like fire warnings, for like fire risk. Like don't do it.
Like,
It
cause
can actually cause fires. So
we have this, like around me at least, we have like these Smoky Bear signs where like they'll go through and they'll change it. Like today's a good day for a fire. Or, we're in a
yeah,
drought.
yeah.
No fire. Just perhaps use a little bit of fire safety. Don't burn down a whole acre of land because you're trying to do a gender reveal.
And listen to your local radio as well, because fire can spread like super quickly. Like a lot of lives lost in Australia is because like people just did not leave in time because they missed it. Because once it get to the stage where like it's really dangerous, there's actually, it's actually quite a scary warning, because in Australia it actually says like it is now too late to leave. Like
Mm.
you have to just stay where you are because it is too late to leave. Like it's a pretty scary, like when you see the advisor, it's like quite scary because it literally says like just fucking stay put because it's just too late now. And sometimes
Well,
like yeah.
like I know. Does Australia have beavers?
Beavers.
Or is that just like a North America thing?
I Look, man, I'm not technically Australian. I've never seen a beaver. I mean, we have platypuses. Is that close
Okay.
enough? Is that close enough to a beaver? We have wombats.
I don't think wombats apply for like beaverness, but like so I was watching somebody give like a quick rundown of their like PhD thesis on like beavers and preventing wildfires.
Mm.
So like when the beavers build their dam, it forces the water to like outstretch to other parts of the land, creating like this fireproof barrier.
Oh.
And like So when people in like the States are like tearing down the beaver dams, it's messing with like some of the natural
Oh,
like fire resistance.
oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah, because the beavers make dams, right? No, our platypuses aren't smart enough to do that kind of shit. Sorry.
Mm.
Like they just look very cute, but then that's all they do.
I mean, they got like venom. That's
I
cool.
Yeah, and they're like a mammal that lays eggs, right? I think
Yeah,
from
that's
memory. Yeah,
snazzy.
they're like half duck, half not duck.
Heck, Perry the platypus.
Australia is weird.
Wildlife is weird. Like, you guys got the adorable possum, but we got the possum that looked like it looked like fighting behind a Walmart.
Oh yeah, I've seen American possums. Those things
Like,
can fight. Yeah, but then have you seen wombats? If your car hit a wombat, your car is done, and the wombat is probably just gonna limp away.
I mean, back most animals though. We got deer here, and we got like buffalo.
Oh, Have you seen Canadian moose? Like that thing can go against a truck.
So, like, I was in my aunt's farm one day, and it was morning, and we were looking out, and my mom's like, "Did one of the neighbors' horses get out?" It wasn't a horse; it was just a moose, and this thing was an absolute unit. Like, we're when there's moose outside the farm, we're not allowed to go out just because they're like really aggressive and they can fuck up your car up in fierce. It's
Mm.
craziness.
I
Very
would
few
love to see like I would like to see an in real life Canadian moose to see like just how big it is.
for absolute units. They're like they're big,
Hmm.
a lot bigger than horses. Um, right. Before I derail this with moose conversations.
Yeah, I know.
Alrighty, let's go to um hmm. Where are you from? And
So
how does that affect your work?
I think I answered that in the first question too, somewhat. Yeah, I'm from Solo. I come from Solo in Indonesia, and yeah, with Java, especially Central Java being a big cultural hub for Indonesia, like that influenced a lot of my work and a lot of the inspirations because of the all the things like people do shadow puppets and all that stuff as well. So um a lot of there's a lot of creativity and a lot of colors. Like everything is very bright, very colorful. And I think most of like Southeast Asian culture is like that. It's like very bright, very colorful. Like each region have their own like patterns, have their own colors, and is Java is no different. Like if you like Bali have their own color palette, like Java have their own color palette. Then you go to like Jakarta and it's just like smoke and depression, I guess. And then you
Mm.
go to like Sumatra, like they have their own color palette and stuff like that. So yeah, I think I've actually answered most of the question in the first question. I think
I mean, it happens. Sometimes a
yeah.
lot of these questions overlap, and that's just the nature of it.
Mm.
Alrighty, let's see. What Gundam would you take on a date?
Well, we all know I would take the double O razor to a date.
Mm.
I mean, why else would I have a tattoo of a double O razor head with a skeleton coming out of it if I'm not gonna take it for a date? It's just I like it. I feel like the double O series is underrated and people only know like the Exia for some reason. Cause like people's like, oh yeah, but what gun is like, oh, it's the double O race. It's like, oh, the Exia. I'm like, I don't know why. Like people seem to know the Exia more than like the Seven Sword or like the Razor or like the Kanti and stuff like that. Is like the amount of people when I posted that tattoo who asked me, oh, who told me, oh, nice Exia. It's like I don't even know if they're trolling or if they're just like they actually don't know. Like I'm trying to like, okay, I'm just
Probably
gonna pretend
both.
like I don't know
Probably both.
because they look similar to each other, like very very similar to each other. But
Mm,
why would I take the double eraser to a date? Like it has a plane as a backpack. Like it's very slender but also very buff,
mm,
especially on the torso area. Very cool, very manly. Has a
mm.
gigantic sword that is also a pistol? Question mark. Apparently, I've never actually watched the anime, so forgive my ignorance. Right, I only build. I don't really watch the anime.
I've
Um,
seen 3 of the animes, and that's enough for me.
and like it can have even more swords if you want. Like I think it came with like a big sword and two small swords. That's in the master grade, and it has like the plane at the back. Like it's
Mm,
just cool. Like why wouldn't you want it? And like it's very very aesthetic as well. Like I don't know, I just like Double O Gundam legs. Like I feel like they have the best legs. Like they're all
mm-hmm.
very slender legs with like the green bits, like the GN drive stuff. Like it's I think that's really cool. And
It's a
apparently
solid
like GN
choice.
drives are like overpowered in like the Gundam universe. Like that's what I've heard from people. So you have like this really handsome looking Gundam with at least three swords, a plane at the back, and arguably one of the most overpowered power in Gundam because you can turn Trans Am, right? Like that's what happened. Like you
Mm-hmm.
just became Super Saiyan. Like yeah, why wouldn't you want it? And then it can
It's a
turn
solid
pink.
choice.
Yeah, it can turn pink and sparkly and go super
Mm,
fast. Like
perfect.
it is literally the best Gunpla. Like it's the best Gundam ever.
Debatable, but debatable, but an interesting choice. Everybody knows my top pick at the big jam. Leg for days.
Oh, cool.
All right. Let's see. We're on question number whatever. What do you listen to when working?
Oh shit. Well, I listen to serial killer documentaries. I'm not a serial killer. I want to put a disclaimer that I am not a serial killer.
The
But
audience. This is where I add in my criminal psychology.
do serial killers, do potential serial killers listen to serial killer podcasts?
We're gonna find out today. So you listen to. Very
Should I
Chris
be
Han.
concerned?
It's very Chris Hansen. Yes, have a seat.
Oh shit. I knew it. It's just a matter of time now before I kill someone. No, but it's pretty much I really like, Coffee House Crime is one of my favorite
Mm.
channels. Like I keep up with all his videos. But I also listen to really weird shit like the Chris Chan documentary. I'm 4 episodes behind at the moment because I've been sidetracked by Malaysian 370 documentaries because it's the 10-year anniversary, and I can't go past any good aviation documentary. And so I've listened to like 3 of them
You must be
2 days
loving
ago.
the You must be loving the Boeing.
Oh, look,
Ominous.
I feel like Boeing is shit, right? And it's ironic because I'm actually wearing a Boeing shirt at the moment. Um, but people need to also know that Airbus is also shit. Like I feel like now the media is like hyper focused on Boeing when all this safety stuff, all this cost cutting, it happens in all aspects of aviation. I know because I worked in aviation. It's not just one brand, it's not just one aircraft manufacturer, it's the collective industry, right? So
Mm.
I just find it really funny, but it's also really sad because now people with like fear of flying, like their fear is now justified, but not for the right reasons. Like you get it. Like I know people have fear
Mm.
of flying. It's like, oh, I'm scared. But and now with all of this Boeing stuff going on, they feel like it's even more justified that air travel is bad. which is completely not true. I've flown both planes, like both
Mm-hmm.
brands, right? I'm type
Yeah.
rated in two. So it's like, people say, oh, Boeing bad because shit fell out of planes, but and now, like, you see, I think a lot of the US media, like every time there's like a Boeing incident, it goes on the news. But then there's
Mm-hmm.
like two Airbus incidents the same day and none of them made it to the news because like it's not Boeing, because Boeing is like the big topic right now. It happens all the time. Panels fall off planes. It's fine. Like it's not gonna crash the plane. I've had a engine cowling fell off, and it's in an Airbus, and it's fine. You just can't see the inside. It's a little bit weird for some people. It's not gonna crash the plane. Hydraulic systems, they sometimes go out sometimes, and it's no danger at all. It's just sometimes people in the media say, "Oh my gosh, did you know the hydraulics moves the rudder and like moves the wings, and like if it fails, like the plane will crash?" Yeah, technically, but like you can't just generalize and say like this one obscure hydraulic line to this one obscure part fails and then you just sensationalize it. Like I feel like that's the really bad thing about all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's sort
Yeah.
of like, yeah, I'm enjoying like all the controversy with Boeing, and I feel like with the Max incident, I'm actually really sad because when the 737 Max was introduced, I was really excited to be able to fly one. Like because Qantas wanted to order a bunch of 737 Maxes, and I felt like it was a very very well engineered aircraft, right? Has big new engines and apparently a lot of performance improvements. Like that
Mm.
makes life a lot easier for us pilots. The only problem with the whole Max thing is they did a whole bunch of new configuration, but they don't want to retrain the pilots because it'll cut costs. So they pitch it like, hey, it's basically the same plane as the old 737 with minor details, but they left out what changed and like the whole, oh, there's the MCAS computer that automatically changes pitch. Like they didn't tell us that. It's not in the training manual. And the reason why they didn't tell us that is because if it's a different plane, then we have to be trained, we have to be type rated again. But the big sales pitch for airlines is that this is a new plane, but if you've flown a 737, you don't need to be retrained. So it saves a lot on training costs. Like that's the sales pitch, but that's ultimately what is like what caused all of this is because like we didn't know all of the systems because it's
Mm.
not in the manual and it's something they should have declared, but they didn't to cut costs. At least like this is like coming from a pilot's point of view. Like I don't really care about the engineering. I don't really care, but it's like from an airline's perspective. Hey, I don't have to train the pilots to be type rated to a new type of plane. Then it saves a lot of money and a lot of time for pilots too. Because like if you're training someone to be type rated, you have to be taken off the shift to be able to like be with someone and teach them.
Yeah.
And like and then you have to like bring that new person on flights with you on like the jump seat. Like it takes a lot of resources from us too to train people. So I can understand why people get into it because like, oh, I don't have to train like staff because cost cutting, because money. But
Yeah.
then the thing is, Airbus does the same thing with their new planes too. So it's not just Boeing. Like I feel like Boeing gets too much unjustified hate when it should be a greater scrutiny in the whole aviation system.
Yeah.
Like it's the whole industry needs to be scrutinized. It's not just one company. And I know Boeing and Airbus like talk to each other. Airbus is gonna learn from that and not do it. But
Uh,
one's gonna kind of take it to the team for the team kind of thing.
Representatives of Boeing, if you're listening to this audio, please don't send people to
Don't
my
sue me,
house.
please.
Don't send people to my house. I don't want to have a tragic accident following the next day.
Well, if you fall off your window tomorrow,
Oh no, she mysteriously fell out of a locked window.
look, flying is still safe. Okay, flying is still safe. Trust me, I come from Indonesia. All right, that should tell you. That should tell you enough. If there's like hundreds of planes flying over Indonesia every day, all right, and I know Indonesian aviation is really, really fucking bad, so it's fine. Don't believe what you see in the media. Unfortunately, yes, like there's a lot of cost cutting these days, but it's not just one organization, it's everything. It's all
Mhm.
relative.
I
And
trust
yeah.
getting on a plane than getting on a boat any day of the week.
I hate boats. I get so sick and I get so scared. Cause
Mother,
like,
the ocean is not to be messed with, and I respect that. So I don't go on boats.
you won't go on any submersibles anytime soon. Then
Um, I'm not going into a submarine controlled by an Xbox
Xbox controller. Yeah.
if I ever make above a certain money bracket.
I can't do it. I would fall unconscious from stress if I ever get on a submersible that deep. Titan
No,
or not Titan, I don't care.
like with killer whales flipping boats and targeting water, I'ma just leave that alone.
Yeah,
The ocean's good. The ocean's chill. I don't for no reason for me to go up in there.
me too. Me too. I'd go on like a cruise to try, like once, and then probably that's it. But I don't know. I don't want to have a Costa Concordia kind of incident happening to me.
You see, my thing with like cruises, I don't want to be like stuck on a cruise for like 2 or 3 weeks because half of them got sick.
Yeah, like people got sick in cruises like more often than you think. It's like a petri dish.
Mm,
Like one person gets gastro, everyone gets gastro.
that is not my cup of tea. Mm. I'm okay with flying. I've been on planes a million and one times. I'm okay with driving. Everybody's a terrible driver. So, but the ocean, I don't fuck with boats. I don't mess with them.
You don't mess with boats.
Nope, the ocean has its own thing going on, and who am I to disrupt that?
Well, in Indonesian belief, the ocean is the most haunted of all places.
Well, yeah, the ocean.
Yeah.
Think of how many dead whales have been dead. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen the meme with the moon is haunted. Collect shotgun, but it's
No, I
the
haven't seen
ocean.
that one.
But no, the ocean. That's all on its own thing. That's especially with like the big what I can. I was watching one video about some of the tsunami wave sizes, and I'm like, no, I'm good. You keep that all to yourself. That
Yeah,
is
don't forget the Indonesian tsunami in 2004 as well, I think.
that the ocean is too powerful, and you know what? I'm gonna view it at a distance.
That is probably a good idea.
Mm-hmm. Cause like I was watching somebody and they're like, yeah, no, the water tide is really low today and the ocean's really pulled back, and I'm like, I don't think that's a good
Mm.
sign. Hmm.
Well, that's unfortunately how people died in Sumatra when it hit Sumatra in 2004. It's like people like, oh my gosh, like I can actually see more of the seafloor. But then there's like apparently the tsunami warning system was like vandalized by people as well. That's why like it didn't ring in time or some shit. Like
Hmm.
there's a huge investigation about it. But yeah, it's seeing some of the surviving like home videos of like the 2004 tsunami. It's crazy. It's just like so much water and it just keeps coming.
Like I feel like wildfires and earthquake, you can kind of handle them on their own like kind of level, but tsunamis are something different.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Cause
And
like
like there's you can't exactly escape from it either, I feel. Like it's a lot harder.
hmm
Like you have to get to higher ground, but even the higher ground is not really guaranteed to like, save you from those, like wildfires, like you can get away from a place where there are no wildfires, but like with a tsunami, you don't know like how much it will spread, I guess, like if it'll
yeah,
get any worse and things like
cause
that.
like
I think
buildings can be earthquake proof. I don't think buildings can be tsunami proof very well.
no, no.
Mm. Oof. Big oof. Alrighty. Let's go on to the next one. Alright. Here's a good one. How do you think art is important to society?
I feel that in current society where literally everything is everything is designed to make you either angry or depressed or both, art is even more important now than ever. Because I'm gonna be like, let me tell you a story from when I was a kid. But then like I'm actually not that old. But like me saying this now makes me feel like I'm like 65 years old. Um, I remember in the 90s, um, like the way, because there's no internet. Internet is not everyone has internet. I
Mm.
remember the way you enjoy art back then at its simplest form is to go out to a concert or go to a movie or go to like any art show. At least in my hometown, like there's like an art show every year, and it's just like traditional dancing, traditional music, and like traditional food and all that stuff. Or even go to the cinema. Go to like you take time out of your day to go to the cinema to sit and enjoy art. Even though the art is like a stupid Power Ranger movie, it's still art, still movies. You go out to a concert, right? Because back then there's no streaming yet. Now you can like just stream everything, stream movies from the comfort of your own home. You can enjoy all of this stuff, but at the same time, it's kind of like hard to detach yourself, because like everything is so convenient.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, I can just consume all this media that is freely available to me. But I feel like a lot of that is missing. Like you're missing the whole like I am going out to enjoy art part of like enjoying
Yeah.
art. Do I make sense? Like it's sort of,
Oh no, I get you.
yeah, like it's so, and like there's so much like rage bait and like drama content and misinformation, like everything. Like especially these days. Like I know
Mm-hmm.
back then, and now with like AI art as well, I feel like, to me, personally, as a person, as a creator, as a fellow artist, um now that AI art is everywhere, I actually find it really annoying, um that every time I see something cool online, I have to do a double take to make sure it's not AI art.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't just enjoy art on the internet anymore. I have to scrutinize it like a little bit, so it's lost a lot of the, oh wow, that's good art, that's good internet picture. Now I have to be like, oh shit, it's AI generated. Like, oh look, a
Yeah.
cool Gundam Kid Bash, oh it's AI art. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
very disappointing for me.
I feel
So
you.
now art as a medium is now even more important. Like we need to, I feel like, I hope we get more artists, because uh now there's like all this AI art and all this like is tons of like rage bait and all that stuff that sometimes, like, I find myself missing kind of simple art. Like,
I feel you.
going to the movies, going to a concert. And I remember my dad telling me, because he was born like after World War II, is like true boomer. He told me back in the 50s, like that's why like they have like disco culture, like in the 70s, like 80s disco culture. Like you go to a discotheque, like to dance, and other people dance with you. Like there's nothing like that now. I mean, yeah, there's
No.
pubs, but it's not disco culture. But my dad back then said to me, like, that's also art, like in a simple form.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you dance with people and you enjoy like good 70s music.
Yeah, because it's
And then
social.
yeah, and then he told me, back in the 70s, like I guess a really big cinema culture as well, because you have to go out and pay money to go to the cinema to enjoy art. You have to go to art galleries, like because that's pretty much the only way you can enjoy art. Like um, like a lot of painting, because there's like not no technology, like no computers, nothing, like no internet. So art needs to be enjoyed like in person by yourself. You need to feel it, you have to be present in the moment. And he also told me like, oh, it's kind of like a double-edged sword, like all this media, like all this technology, like it's a double-edged sword, because now like everyone can consume art like at the comfort of your own home, but that takes away sometimes like the like I guess the grounding, bringing the present moment, like actually like being with the art itself, like like seeing Mona Lisa in person is gonna be very different from seeing Mona Lisa from
Mm-hmm.
like a computer screen. So yeah, like, it's very important, especially these days. That's what I feel like. That's why like I really enjoy like going to like scale model shows. Like you can see like people's work like in person. Like it is so different than just like scrolling through someone's Instagram.
No,
And
I
yeah.
feel you. It's disconnected.
Yep, yeah, that's I think that's a good word for it. Yeah. So yeah, very important. Like, which is why like I'm actually like excited. Like going to like my first like tattoo convention and stuff. Like I get to
Mm,
see like all these artists, like all this art,
yeah.
like in one place. Like I think it's gonna be like so much fun. Like I have
Mm-hmm.
to like restrain myself not to come up with like a full bodysuit by the end of the day or some shit like
Just
that.
do it.
But
Just do it. Full body
I
suit.
can't do
Let's
it. I
go.
can't. I'm a pussy now with pain. Like I'm
Just
using more and more numbing cream these days because of that. I'm getting old for this shit. But like
like
I'm still like really interested to like look at like paintings and like merch and like live drawing. Like
mhm.
I think it's gonna be like super fun. So
Yeah,
I'm
because
excited
you
for it.
there's a lot of stickers most of the time you can get.
Yeah, yeah. Like I wanna get all of them. I'm gonna like set aside like $200 just to get like stickers.
Yeah, because if you don't want to get any tattoos, you can always get like merch, which is great.
Yeah, yeah. And there's like so many great artists so to choose from.
Mm. Cons are fun. I love cons.
Cons, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Packs,
like
yeah, we have packs here. It's just
I don't.
different, it's just different actually going out there and enjoying art and being surrounded by artists than just consuming it like from from your home. Like there's
Yeah,
something different. And I think there needs to be more of that
I
these
love
days.
like art museums, but the
Mm.
price, man, that what stops a lot of people from going nowadays.
It's sort of like a catch-22. Like they need to charge more because less people are coming, but then less people are coming because they're charging more.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to support them if I can, but I can understand like it being way too expensive these days. I totally get it.
Cause like I think the last time I went, I got in free because I was a student, but like my parents had to pay like $20 each.
Yeah.
Fun times in the economy.
Well, there's just be a perpetual student, so you get all student benefits. You don't actually like have to pass any of your units. A lot of people are doing that now. This is not a life advice, by the way. So this is not financial advice.
Continue. Want free benefits? Have you considered continuous student loans?
Yeah, but then look at all the student benefits you get. You get like student discounts every day. It adds up.
One simple trick to get a free gym membership. 2K a semesters. Literally, when I went to my community college, they had gym fees listed under what went to some of your tuition just to use the
Oh.
gym, and I'm like, it's insanity. Like, it shouldn't be. I shouldn't have to pay to use the gym. That should be built in free for me because I'm already paying this asinine amount to begin with.
Yeah, for sure.
Oi. Alrighty. Tell me about your favorite medium.
My favorite medium is still scale modeling, I think. I think that's a medium.
Yeah.
Is scale model a medium? Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is medium, yeah. I also like watercolor. I think watercolor is something I'm trying to get better at. Like I do it. Um I'm not very good at digital art. Like every time like I design something, like I always sketch it and then I would ask Aiden to like vector it on Photoshop and like kind of trace over it. Like I don't know why. Like I really tried to get into like digital art because like ironically I wanted to be like a tattoo artist.
Yeah.
Um and like everyone uses tablets now. Like cuz it's just faster and more efficient. But like I remember trying to build my portfolio and I have to like paint and or draw manually on like paper and I'm like this is not good because I'm not efficient because like if I have to use like pencil on paper every day like I'm not gonna get as many clients. Like I need to learn digital art, but I just don't enjoy using digital art as a medium. Like I always come back to like pen and paper or
Mm.
pencil and paper. Um, but yeah, I really like watercolor because I really feel like when you put watercolor on paper and like the color comes together, like it's just different than oil. It's different than pencil. Like it's just something the way like watercolor reacts. It's kind of like it's predictable, but it's not. Like you can kind of put two colors and then like they kind of spread everywhere, and there's like this spontaneity in like watercolor, like on paper. Like I really like that, seeing like all the colors clash. And because like the paper curls as well as it gets water, so it's like this rustic kind of
Mm-hmm.
looks kind of like rustic and curly and like really nice. And
Yeah.
scale modeling for me is like a great medium as well. And um I was a little bit like, cause it's kind of like especially in genres like Gunpla, where you can pretty much paint it any color. I find it's like a nice break from, I guess, like watercolor and realism stuff. So it's kind of like two avenues that kind of balance each other. If I
Yeah.
want to do like something crazy, I can do it on a Gunpla. If I want to do something
Mm-hmm.
a little bit more reserved, I can do it on paper, like a pen and paper. So it's sort of like bouncing between two things. So it's kind of like if I'm a bit exhausted, like artistically, I was like, oh, I'm a bit exhausted from doing something crazy all the time, then I'll just draw familiar things. But then if I need a break from something that's too familiar, then I go to Gunpla and like do something that's a little bit more radical. So I feel like I really like those two mediums like equally. So
I mean, I've always wondered what it'd be like to use like watercolor on Gunpla, because I imagine there must be a way.
you can use acrylics. But creating a watercolor effect, you just have to thin out the acrylics more and then let it blend with each other. It can
Mm.
work, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I also feel like watercolors, they have some better colors than like acrylic.
Yeah, it is bright. It is like it's more diluted, but it's more intense. Like if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because they're designed to be diluted so much. Um, so like you get so much pigment in just such a small drop. Like it's a more intense kind of paint. That's what I find.
Like, I have a thing of like watercolor ink. I bought it thinking it was normal ink. So I was painting my Tyranids, and I have this bottle of watercolor ink thinking it's normal like ink wash. Until I put on the top coat.
Oh.
And like I'm brushing on the top coat because I want a nice thick like goop to it, and then I'm like, why is the paint moving? And then I look and it's ink, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be interesting.
I'm sure it gives off a cool effect though.
It does, but it's the whole why is my ink moving? Why is this happening?
Happy little accidents.
Little Bob Ross logo. All right. Let's see. What tools are crucial to you?
But tools.
Yep.
I really like my masking template, especially recently. Um, it's basically just like a template. You put your masking tape on top of it, and then you run your very, very sharp surgical blade over it to make patterns. Like I've been using that more and more ever since like the full details in Anju, because I realized they made pre-cut masking tape for that, but someone told me like halfway I was nearly finished and I couldn't get it. But like
Mm.
the triangles and lines are like my favorite type of templates. Like it is so you can pretty much um cover anything with lines, grids, and triangles. Like it's so good, and different size triangles. Um, I feel like that's my most used tool at the moment. But like
Mm.
I can't go past a good glass file. Like I still use like my first razor that I bought from Majin Hobby when they first opened. Like that's like what, nearly 4 or 5 years now,
Yeah.
and I still use the same one, and it's still as sharp as the day I got it. If you take care of it well, like it's fine. It's probably those two, like especially as a commission worker, like prep takes a lot of your time. There's like a lot of prep, cutting, sanding, all that stuff. Like the more you can streamline your prep, hopefully the more money you make and the less insane you'll be. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm finding like glass file and the balancer pads, like they've saved me so many hours. And then also the cutting templates, they just make me even faster. So those are my most important tools. But at the moment, at this present moment, my cutting template, man, it's so good. Cannot
And,
recommend it enough.
and speaking of commissions, how rewarding do you find your commissions?
How rewarding?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Like outside of monetary value.
I feel I feel like I need to actually tell the context of like behind all this commission. So when COVID hit, I lost my job as a pilot.
Mm.
Me and hundreds and thousands other pilots around the world. It's just the way it is. And I basically got given like an option. You can either quit now and take a redundancy and we'll give you a bonus. So it's basically like getting people to quit, that
Mm-hmm.
they give you a nice big paycheck of money. Or you can stay as a pilot, but if you're not flying, you're not getting paid, and we don't know how long it's gonna take.
Yeah.
So it's either 6 months unemployment because you're probably not gonna get any flight, or quit now and get a bonus. So I thought I'm gonna take a gap year, stupid me. So I took the redundancy and got a package, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take a gap year where I will explore my artistic nature and I'm going to open commissions. That was the plan, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I opened my commissions and it was filled. I had 47 commissions, which
Not
I'm
bad.
still doing till this day, 3 years later. So it was a mistake.
I
Anyway,
mean,
so I have like another job now. So I'm kind of like doing it on the side now. Um, so at first, I priced my commissions like really, really cheap because it was just something for me to do so that I don't go insane because I'm locked down.
mm-hmm.
And like the lockdown in Australia ends up being nearly like a year full of lockdowns. So
Yeah.
like in hindsight, it was actually like a really good way for me to not go insane. Like if that makes sense.
Oh, I feel you.
Because like I'm always doing something. Um but I have to admit my first lot of commissions, like they're rewarding once completed, but it wasn't rewarding for me financially because I was really just trying to get something to do, basically. Like that's the underlying reason.
Mm-hmm.
So like I don't know how long lockdown's gonna take. If I just ask for like $200 or $300, then it's okay, right? Because like
Yeah.
that's labor and time. Like, but then it's also not worth it because like I got a full resin kit I did for someone for only like $150. Like it is not worth it. So
Mm-hmm.
some of them is like really like way too cheap. So cheap that I undercut my fellow artist friends without me knowing it. Because everyone canceled like their commissions and go to me instead because like I'm just a lot cheaper. So but now and back then it was more something to do to pass the time, right? So it's more
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm locked down and I'm out of work, so I'm just gonna do something so I don't go crazy. But now that I have like another job, the commissions are a little bit more rewarding because one, I've sort of grown my skills over lockdown, like by a lot. I feel like I've improved a lot and I'm tackling more difficult projects, so it's more rewarding now. And two, some of the newer commissions that I got, like the bucks and stuff, they're actually financially rewarding as well because I have built that portfolio over lockdown. So I would say now it's very rewarding, even though like it rips me to shreds having to like send my commissions because like I put so much time and effort on it. Um, and sometimes I would make like a second one for myself, and sometimes I would do tandem, like I would make two at the same time, and like my client gets like the slightly better shoulder pad with like the slightly
Mm.
better paint job, and I just keep the shitty one for myself. So I've actually made doubles of some of my previous commissions, so like I have something to keep. It is also because like if I'm not too confident, like I can kind of like poach parts for my own and give it to the client. Like if one it turns out better, they didn't know it, but it's like my little secret. Back then, so now it's very rewarding because now I've built my portfolio and I feel like I'm more efficient now as well. Like back then, it's like such a slog. Like I have like prep and like priming and all that stuff. Like it wasn't as rewarding back then as it was now. So
Well, I think this actually leads into our next question. How do you balance creativity and commissions and personal projects and commissions?
oh my, I sometimes struggle with it still. It's a very delicate balance. And like I feel like if I lag in one aspect, it drags the others along with it. If that makes any
Yeah.
sense. Starting from like I remember 2020 when I opened my commission at the peak of lockdown. When I got my first 20 commissions, it got to the point where the reason I even stopped accepting commissions is because one wardrobe is just full of other people's kits. And actually, Aiden told me, stop it, stop, no more, no more, no more commissions because like we're running out of space and it's just like people's commissions.
Yeah.
Like when I first started, um, I would pull 10, 11-hour painting days. So I would do a big session in the morning after breakfast, so like 10 to lunchtime. Then after lunchtime, I would do a painting session until 5 p.m. And then after 5 p.m., I would do it till 9 p.m. So, I mean, it's lockdown. I have nothing to do.
Yeah.
But after 2020, like entering 2021, I've realized that I can't keep this up. I can't keep painting like 3 times a day like what I did in 2020. Like I felt like that was something, I don't know, it's like a switch go off in my head. I'm just like I can't do this in this intensity anymore.
Yeah.
Like something needs to change. I need to actually balance myself more because I think I'm looking through my Instagram right now. I think it's 2020 or 2021. I did 20 model kits in a year.
Ooh.
And that includes like the 6 snails commission, I think.
Mm.
So that's actually like 27, and that doesn't include my personal projects. Like it's my biggest scale modeling year. And that's because like I'm pulling crazy hours like that.
Yeah.
Like real Studio G shit, you know, like I got hospitalized because I spent 600 hours making my shit, which like it's a lie, by the way. I'm just gonna say it right here on record. It's a lie. He doesn't spend 600 hours on a fucking leg. But like I would actually like do that. Like it was so intense. No, it was 2021. 20 kits in 2021.
That's an
Like,
impressive number.
yeah, it's 20 unique kits, by the way. It's 20 unique kits, but if you add the 6 snails, it really is 26. And I did like some Jenga pieces and like some other like petite guys. So really it's closer to like 32. Yeah.
That's
And
an
then I
impressive
realized
amount.
after that year, I'm just like, I can't keep this. I can't keep doing this. Like it's I feel like I'm spending more time painting and not actually looking after myself. Because I was painting so much that year that I didn't even exercise and stuff like that. So I remember 2022, like I started exercising more and painting less. So now actually on a daily basis, I paint maybe like if I paint every day, it's no more than an hour and a half every
Yeah.
day. Or maybe like a big painting session every 2 days. So like big painting session meaning like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And that's it. I only paint between breakfast and lunchtime. And then that's it. Either unless I just top coat, in which like it's really easy and I can do it after. Like
Yeah.
I hardly paint more than 3 hours a day. Like and 3 hours on a day is like a really really good day. Like if I need something done really quickly, like the bugs, like I would do like 3 hour days. But like ever since last year, like I hardly ever go an hour a day at most. Mostly also because the projects remaining from my initial batch of commission work are the more complicated ones now. So basically I've done all the easy one and I got the shit ones left, like resin and stuff. And
Yeah.
they take more planning anyway. So
Mhm.
like a lot of masking and a lot of planning. So that slows me down significantly anyway. But now I actually make a conscious effort to not do more than an hour or an hour and a half a day. And
Yeah.
I find like it's a lot easier for me mentally. And I've also now, I used to do, I need to fill all three of my paint stations with parts because I want to be efficient. Because if I want to be painting, I want to be painting as many things as possible. But now I hardly fill one paint station.
Yeah.
Some days I would be like, I want to paint 7 pieces and 7 pieces only. I just want to paint these parts only. And I find like putting my, like reducing my workload to like bite-sized pieces, it's more rewarding for me. Like, because like, oh, I've done 7 pieces and it's finished. That's great. Instead of like 30 pieces and I've only done 10, it makes me feel bad because I've only done 10 pieces out of 30 pieces. Like, if that makes any sense. I feel like
No, no, I get it.
the dopamine hit is
Mhm.
actually more consistent the less I do
Yeah.
things. And I feel like I've done 7 pieces today. I feel accomplished. I go to bed now. Like, it's better than like,
Yeah.
oh man, I haven't even finished an entire torso section. Like, it just feels like, so now I balance it with like not doing too much, not doing too little, and only painting like a little bit at a time. Like at night now, I really value video game time now. I know like this sounds really stupid, but like when I was painting nonstop like 2 years ago, I would be like why should time, because my mentality back then, because I was also out of a job, right? It's like,
Yeah.
if I don't keep painting, then I don't get whatever money is left, and they're still locked down, so I don't know when I'm gonna get a job. Blah, 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 blah. So I have to like, the more time I spend playing video games, the less time I spend painting, therefore the less revenue I'll get. That was sort of like the mentality
No, no, I get
like
it.
back then. Yeah. So now I'm just like, well, I have a job that pays enough for the bills. It's not a lot, but now I'm gonna like, okay, now I have more time to dedicate for like just to do nothing.
Yeah.
And like doing nothing will in turn makes me more productive to do painting when the time comes. So now I manage it like, so now I guess I'm trading like this very fine balance of like not doing too much, not doing too little, um and also making time for like everything else. But like it's so hard. Like I'm like I still see like a psychologist every now and then, and I told her like, is it me or like everyone is like so stressed out? And
Oh,
like,
everybody
you know,
is.
like everyone, and she's like, yeah, like it's very different. It's, and she mentioned like a really good point, like people get sick, but then you know the doctors say, oh, you need to look after yourself, but then looking after yourself means you have to like not work, and then not work means no money, and then no money
Mhm.
means stress. So it's kind of like it's hard for you to even to be kind to yourself, because like the moment you know you be kind to yourself, you're punished like in this current environment, you
I
know.
mean, yeah, it's rough. Um, like I've been out of a job for the past month, and like, and I have an upcoming job starting soon. But like the month I was out of work, the amount of dog shit I got from people for not working,
Oh
and
yeah.
like they're like, "Well, you're not productive," and I'm like, "I am productive, just not in a capitalist sort of sense of productive."
It took me a lot of like conscious effort, because like I don't want to like boast, like I'm a little bit of like a workaholic, you know, like I like
Mm.
working, but like I need to really tell myself like it's okay to not work, because if I burn out, then that's more cost down the line, you know. Like I need to like keep, actually have to consciously like remind myself like, you don't have to work today so
Yeah.
hard, like you don't have to like do all of this, because I felt like every, like for the longest time, like I guess it's the upbringing as well, like Asian upbringing, and it's like you have to keep doing stuff that will make you money, and like hobbies are useless, like you
Mhm.
know, money, 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 because if you're lazy, you don't get money, and then stuff like it's always money. So yeah, like I balance it with just like not doing too little, not doing too much, like cutting down my work into like bite-sized pieces. Like I would get a fistful of parts, and that's it. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like it is a lot better. Like that's literally like how I do it. Just grab a fistful, and then like whatever that fistful is, like that's it for the week. Like I'm doing it like really slowly.
Yeah.
Um, and I find like ever since I changed to that, like my work quality from like 2022 onwards has like gone up. by like a lot. Like I
Yeah,
put a lot more detail, put more attention. The finish is better. Um, 2021, like it's a bit hit and miss. Like some work is really sloppy, some are really good. But like I feel like it has improved a lot since 2022. Like that's for me looking back at like my previous works. Like because I'm more deliberate. I'm like slower and like I just take more time. It's not really more time like putting 600 hours on it. It's just more time to sort of like work through individual pieces slowly. Like I don't do 6 hours a day, but I do 1 hour like a day for 6 days, and that to me makes a lot of difference because I feel like there's a lot of misconception in Gunpla as well. Like more hours equals more better. Like no, it's not really like that. It's like so long as you're working at your own pace and deliberate, like it'll still look good. Doesn't matter how many hours you put on a kit.
yeah,
Like someone can put 50 hours and it looks good. Someone can put 1,000 hours and it looks good. Like it doesn't. It shouldn't matter how many hours you put into it. Like that's the one thing like I've come to learn throughout the years is like so just do it slowly. Just don't
hmm
lose your mind. Just like just do
yeah.
it slowly. Yeah.
Slow and steady wins the
Yeah,
race.
that's
I
it.
mean,
Wins the
it
race.
helps prevents burnout and stuff.
Yeah. It's
Speaking
very
of
like
which,
burnout prevention is pretty much like been my thing over the past few years. Because now I'm
speaking,
down to the really shitty commission work and God, I will need it, let me tell you. Like I've been putting off like all the difficult ones for later and now I'm at the difficult ones and there's no turning back now. So it's
so
it's
I have another interesting question for you because we're going in like a perfect pipeline here.
oh,
What motivates you to create and what burns you out?
what motivates me to create?
Mm-hmm. And what burns you out?
Well, because I create Gunpla. Like I just like a casual repainter most of the time. What inspires me is sometimes like I would take a break and I would just look at like tattoos or like color schemes or like look at like like racing decals and stuff because like it really inspires me. Like I look at KFC racing decals and I'm like I want to make a KFC Gunpla. Like it's like that's what really inspires me. Like
Love it.
I look at like Garfield stickers and I'm like, oh my gosh, like if I can get a Garfield decal made on my Gunpla, how cool would a Garfield be? Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
just like those sort of things like inspire me, like, movies, like looking at stuff and like looking at tattoos as well inspire me because sometimes like you just see like a sick design and then you can see like, oh, I can see that on like a jester. Like
Mm-hmm.
that is super cool. Like super cool colors. Because some of them are just so vibrant. So whenever I need inspiration, like I would just take a break and literally like browse. There's like this shop, I don't know, this boomer looking website shop. They sell custom decals for like remote control cars.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter what scale. It could be big or small. But like because some people like have like really unique like their own racing cars that they bring to like competitions, like their little jeeps. And like some of the decals are like really cool, like neon, like samurai, and like the Great Wave. And like it really inspires me because like, oh wow, like if I can like commission someone to make these decals on a small scale, like it will really work on Gundam. Like I still want to make a KFC Gunpla, someone better do it. Or like a Sonichu one. Like I would love that. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's like my favorite thing to do, like to inspire me, like is to just like go around or like maybe look at like video game characters, like because they have like some cool outfits, like look at like loot box cosmetics, I guess, like as bad as that sounds, because sometimes they have like recolors and like it really works, like it's like really cool. Like you go to like Horizon Zero Dawn and you look at Thunder Joe and it's like, wow, that sounds like a sick color scheme. Like look at the video game universe, like there's so much inspiration coming out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But equally sometimes like what makes me burn out sometimes also looking for inspiration can burn me out too. But to be honest, that very rarely burns me out. My biggest burnout is when something goes wrong. I think that's my biggest burnout cause. It's like when you have a frustrating kid, um which is happening a lot more lately because I'm making more resin, more third parties, and sometimes they're just not very good. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
put it that way. Terrible fit, just terrible resin casting quality, bent
I feel
parts,
you.
like that. that burns me out more than anything because like I'm working on the Suzabi Furka resin conversion by Ujalan at the moment. It's AlphaTauri livery.
Mm.
Um, and I'm stuck on the waste for a week now. Like I haven't touched it for a week because I'm actually like half burned out from it because for some reason and because every Suzabi I've made is cursed. Like I've never not made a single not cursed Suzabi. There's always something fucking going wrong with it.
Mm.
Like I must have gotten just an especially bad batch of resin parts for the body. Like the expansion is
Mm.
fine, it's like usual and quality. But this the body parts, there's so many warp pieces, there's mold shift, and part of the waist armor that I'm working at the moment is so bent, but the way it's bent, when you straighten it, there's actually not enough resin to cover the part. Like if that makes sense. So when they mold it, the mold itself must be defective.
Mm.
So because it's bent, like it doesn't need as much volume of resin. So when you unbend it, it's actually short. Like, do you get what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say?
Yeah.
Like, I think like there's a problem with the mold because when I straightened it, it just doesn't cover the entire thing. There's like a 3 centimeter like gap,
Hmm.
and I'm like, this is the first time I've seen something like this that you straighten a part but because of a mold issue, it's actually not enough resin. Like it's the first time I've ever seen anything like this. And of course, like I freaked out. Like I contacted the client. I'm like, this is the situation. Like it's all bent and it's actually there. I think there's a mold issue. And I showed him that it doesn't even cover the part. And he's like, I've never seen anything like that
Hmm.
before. So like the details are like smooshed because like it's shorter, like if that makes any sense. So it's just like a really warped, really terrible mold. And then he just basically told me to do my best.
I'm surprised you can reach out to the company about that.
Yeah, but
'Cause
then this is on a deadline. So
mm,
like if I ask 2 months for them to like send it back,
mm, that's fair.
so I sort of like asked him like I'm not skilled enough to like fabricate a new part. I can fix it to the best of my ability, but I'm at wit's end on what I'm gonna do with this. And client is like really nice and he said just do whatever you can to make it not too visible. And after that conversation, I'm still thinking, what the fuck am I gonna do
Mm,
with this? It just
that's
it's just really bad. Like you have no idea how bad it is, and it pissed me off so much that I haven't touched it for a week. And like I've been doing other parts, trying to like avoid when I have to actually eventually get to it. I will have to face it soon because like I need to assemble that first before assembling other parts. But it's just the whole section, it's just the parts are just really, really fucking bad. And I feel like that burns me out more than deadlines or money or no inspiration because I can always get inspiration. But like when you actually deal with a difficult kit and it goes beyond challenging.
mm-hmm.
Challenging is fun, but this is just shit. Like, you know?
Oh, I
Like
feel it.
like it's like a metronome. One side is challenging, the other one is just torture. And it's like once it flips to the other side where it's no longer challenging, where it's just actually so annoying to build and so irritating to the point that it's not challenging, it's more irritating, that's when I get burned out.
Mm-hmm.
Because I love challenge. I love thinking like, how am I gonna fix this? But shit like that, fuck no, I can't fix that shit. It's just annoying now. It's just painful now, and that's what burns me out. It's when challenge becomes like as like annoyance or just like annoying and like it makes you angry. So I don't know how I'm gonna do it. um, Aiden gave me an idea. Well, if the part is bent and it's not enough, maybe you bend the plastic part so it fits the bent part so that nothing happens. But then I'm like, it's only bent on one side. The other side is okay. So if I bend one part, the other part is not gonna be the same
I
length.
mean,
So,
I imagine you can reach out. Like, I know a bunch of the guys work with resin kits.
but
That
this is the
might.
resin part that's warped.
Mm,
So, and it's a very prominent resin piece. Like, it's not like something that's hidden. It's like front and center. The only way you can get a replacement is you ask Ujalet and they'll send you one piece and God knows how long it's gonna take. Or you buy an entirely new resin kit. Or you're trying to mold and then reverse it yourself.
Mm.
Which is what I think I might do. But the other mold is also not perfect. Like both sides were affected. It just one is like significantly worse than the other. So that's why I haven't like posted anything on my like the what is it, like the discussion channel on Instagram for like a week now, because for a week
Yeah.
I've been stuck on the ways. Like that's why like there's like an eerie radio silence because I'm just like, what the fuck am I gonna do with this? I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. Easter break is coming up over the long weekend. My plan is to have a think about that then. I'm kicking down the problem down the road until Easter weekend, in which then I will dedicate like 2 hours to think about it. But at the moment, I'm just trying to like not get too angry thinking about it because it's such a disappointment because like the build has been hard because of these issues, but I've always managed to like make it work. But this time, it's just like I don't think I can make this work. Like something needs to happen more than just trying to make it work. But I showed the mold to my friend, and I think like I just got a bad batch. I
Yeah.
feel like it's just unfortunate. It's cursed. Like I'm telling you, like every Zazabi I've made is cursed. Like this is just another one. So
I
that's what
figure.
turned me out.
I got burnt out pretty bad when I did the Darling in the French
Oh.
Sturwickia kit by Good Smile.
Mm.
Mm, mm. That was a rough run. That one broke like 7 different places, and I'm like, Good Smile, how dare you?
Like the AOK XS I did last year for a personal project, that damn nearly burned me out too. My god. That's probably the worst resin kit I've ever made. Which is a shame because I bought it for myself for my birthday present, thinking it'll be good, but it's not. And that would explain why no one I know finished it. Like I know people who bought it, they either resold it or gave up halfway. Now I know why. I'm the only one in my friendship group who actually finished it. Like out of like 8 or 9 people who I know bought it, I'm the only one who actually finished the damn thing because everyone else gave up halfway because it's just so shit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it gave me that flashback. Like it's just not fun. It's just not fun anymore. And I'm not even, I don't even know if like the legs or the arms are gonna have issues. Like I'm just doing one section at a time, and I'm just like, yeah, this is not fun anymore now. This is just painful now. So yeah,
Oof.
that I'm in mid burnout a little bit.
That's a tough one to get back from sometimes.
Oh yeah, because like once you stop, you kind of stop. It's like object at rest stays at rest, kind of like Newton's third law thing, and you're just like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm just gonna not do anything.
So, speaking of your art and your builds, do any of them have any like themes or messages that they represent?
um, some of them do, especially like my diorama builds. Like I try to convey a story, with my builds as much as I can. I haven't really made dioramas lately. Like I would love to make one this year for myself, maybe a couple, because I really miss that. Because I've been trying to like churn out my commissions. I haven't dioramas take a lot of time. Like my first big diorama, which is the Blue Angels, like the two Sky Grasper and the PG Strike. Uh, like that conveys a story of flight. Like it just like formation flying. Like you know the Blue
Mm-hmm.
Angels have formation flying,
Yeah.
and like people really like that. That was like a 2-year project that I finally got done. Like my first cerulean project build, it was like I think Megami device kit of like this girl with like a big axe through a graveyard. Like it's just it's kind of like a demon hunter girl with like like hunting down skeletons. Like that's really cool. Um, like Rocket Geese is probably one of my favorite builds. It's just based on Elton John's outfit from the movie Rocket Man. Like that just shows a story, just like really flamboyant, just trying to like pay a homage to like Elton John. Like that's really cool. Most of my builds usually follows a theme. Like I encourage my clients to think outside the box because like most of my clients at first is like I want standard colors and I'm like no, let's try something new, let's try a different color, like let's make it unique because like you don't want me to make you a kit standard colors like all other builders can do that, like let's try something new. So I've been really pushing them to like I also push my accounts like, come on, think outside, like think bigger, think bigger. Like I've done like a Pokemon one, like I think I did like a Professor Willow themed, like SD Suzabi. I've done
Mm.
like some really whack colors, like the Cyberpunk Barbados, like I think last year, and the Real Great Eva. Like they were initially gonna be standard colors, but I really, really pushed them because like I really, really want to do it. And it's kind of like the client needs to trust me, which is sometimes very hard to do, like to
Yeah.
convince them like I can do this, like I can make this different. um and like I think I did like a Death Stranding diorama with the trike like a couple years back. That's just like timefall Death Stranding, very
Mm.
very lore accurate kind of like timefall trike. Like I really like that. So
Yeah.
this year I want to lean a bit more like abstract, like storytelling, but also in your nose, like storytelling. Like say if I want to do like hands, something with hands, I will put like an actual hand, like very on the nose, like kind of imagery. Like I really want to do that with Gunpla because I feel like storytelling telling in Gunpla has kind of gone down a lot. Like I don't see
Hmm.
them as often anymore.
No.
Like I feel like I see a lot more just like hangar, abandoned, and like going through rubble. Like whereas I remember like in 2014, 2015, like the storytelling element is a lot more diverse than now. So like I've been trying to like kind of keep that up, like diverse storytelling through Gunpla.
Hmm.
So this year I'm hoping to do something more abstract, something with hands. So that's a hint for you all. Like I want to do
Mm.
something with hands. I want to like cast my own hands and just do something with it. Like that's what I want to do. Like I said, it's very on the nose, like imagery and like symbolism. But I really want to do that. It's like too smart, like very like I am very smart imagery kind of thing. Like I wanna do something like that, but I haven't really thought past the hands part. So I'll
You
and I
caught
wanna
my
do
fancy.
yeah, and I wanna do like a small vignette of like it's like parodying like those I'm not sure if I should to say this now. I wonder how many people will copy it. I'm very cagey about telling it. It will be a vignette of a meme that is popular in the traditional scale modeling world that I want to translate into Gunpla that I think will work and be very, very nice
Hmm.
and might be of the color of this year's Cerulean project. Let me just put it that way. But like, it's something I'm really keen to try. I think it'll be hilarious. I just hope no one has the same idea as me because I saw someone did it at like a scale model club, and I'm like, I just have to do it myself. Like that's so funny.
Snazzy.
Yeah. So like I want to do more storytelling. Like I really love storytelling. Like even like the Eldritch, like the squid Zeong I did last year or the year before as well. There's literally a swamp monster. Like
Hmm.
that was an idea that I've had in my head for a long time because I remember the reason why I made that is because when the Real Great Zeong was released, I showed that to Aiden. I'm like, look how stupid this is. And then he told me, are those thrusters underneath the skirt? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, imagine if tentacles come out of it. And that sort of like gave me the ideas like, but hang on, how about if arms come out of it? And then like I start researching Gunpla with like weird arms and like the Hygok popped up and I'm like, oh, I gotta do it now. And
Yeah.
that was like my first like me using like epoxy resin and stuff. Like, oh, it's really fun. Like I really enjoyed it. Like I want to do more of it. If only I have time to do more of it, I would do it like all the time. But dioramas take a lot of space too. So
Hmm.
like I want to make like big like kind of like flashy dioramas, but like unfortunately, like I'm really out of space, so that's why I've sort of like stopped. So I'm hoping the next two I'm hoping to make today, this year, it will be a little bit more space efficient. So I've been trying to like make it more vertical instead of like more horizontal. I've been trying to like think of ideas on how can I make this vertically instead of horizontally, because like I have a lot of vertical space but not a lot of
Yeah.
horizontal space. So yeah, that's like what I try to put meaning in all of my work is what I'm saying. Um, and I encourage my clients to like think outside the box as well, because to me the most rewarding kind of commission works and the most rewarding works is when they trust me and my vision comes into fruition. I think that's like the best feeling, because
Mm-hmm.
I have this idea I'm gonna make, like, I don't know, KFC Grandpa, and it's gonna look sick, and then like it just works. I feel like that's a way better feeling than just like I want this to be the same color as this other person doing it, which
Yeah.
to be honest, like most commissions are like that. It's like, oh, this person does it like this, I want you to, but I always try to dissuade them from doing that, because like I like coming out with my own color schemes. I love giving you something unique that only you have. So don't make me copy others, because, you know, as an
Yeah.
artist, I would like to grow too. So
Mm-hmm.
thankfully, like everyone's been like really great, uh, asking, like I would give them incentives, like maybe what if I give you like no change fee or something, like, and they usually take up. So it's good. Like this year, um, like the colors of like the kits I'm doing this year, they're all gonna be like really good. Like the St. Andrew candy, like it's it was initially gonna be black, but then I actually pitched it to be candy, because I haven't done like a big candy project. So
Mm-hmm.
initially it's gonna be three-tone black. But I
Ooh.
thought, you know what? I wanna take the plunge and do candy and challenge myself. So that challenge, see, the challenge like that I love, but like if it turns to shit, then it's not fun. So that's when I get burned out.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to actually do more dioramas this year. I actually made it as a goal to do it this year, because
Yeah, that's a good goal.
I really like just visualizing and telling a story. And yeah, I hope I can do more of it.
Hey, that's always a good goal. I mean, that's my goal this year is more dioramas.
Dioramas are so much fun to make.
Mm. Alrighty, we got 3 questions left.
Oh,
We're hitting the end zone here.
oh,
Um, who are your biggest artistic influences?
my biggest artistic influences. I can do like a meme answer. I cannot do a meme answer. Oh. But honestly, my biggest influence artist. In Indonesia, it used to be, there's this political illustrator, not really comic artist, called for a comic strip called Benny and Mice. And I actually don't know. I actually have to look it up. I think his name is Mice, and like I really like his art style and how he makes fun of Indonesian culture and the political culture.
Mm.
Like that, growing up in Indonesia, he was my first kind of like artistic inspiration, because he would publish like all these parody books, like, oh, a foreigner's guide to Indonesia, and it's like looking through the lens of like a typical Bali tourist. And it's just so funny, like he would dissect like what an Indonesian wear and what they eat, and it's like very humorous. And like the art style is very, it's kind of like rush, but it's also really, it's like quite unique, because usually comics in newspapers were black and white, but there were some instances where their comic was in color on a newspaper, which is like something I've never seen before. So that's why like, I got drawn into their comic. So in Indonesia, Benny and Mice, like that, the comic strip, like it's, and they're not scared to sort of like make fun of politics, make fun of like how shit living in Indonesia is, like the stereotypes. And sometimes they would ask like the big questions, like, oh, how come like it's so corrupt or stuff like this. So they're asking like some really really good political questions, and like they're like Indonesian comic artists. Um, so it's kind of like it's more relatable to the people who actually are
Yeah.
reading the comic. Yeah, because like these comics were lumped together with like Peanuts and all that stuff, like just translated to Indonesia, and they were like the first kind of like original political Indonesian comic sort of thing, because like everything else is like from the Western, and then they're like they have like Batman or something, and like the Sunday like the Sunday newspaper, and they put like the Batman on top of like the Snoopy, and like, but then there's always Benny and Mas, and there's always like the Indonesian comic. Like it was very like it's very refreshing because like now we have all this like a new artist, coming into the sphere, and I really like. I always go to the Sunday newspaper, and that's the only comic I would read. It's great. But then moving to Australia, like Sam Kane, who is a tattooist,
Mm.
is like my biggest like art inspiration. Like he specialized back then in 2008 2009. He would make skull tattoos,
Ooh.
but it's not just like your skull tattoos. He would like if you Google like Sam Kane tattoo or something, it's like whatever you want. So like I want an Evangelion skull. He would like put Evangelion elements in the skull that it looks like skulls from a distance, but if you
Hmm.
move closer, it's like normal art.
Oh
But you
wow.
only see the skull if you look at it like from a distance. Like, oh, it's so hard to explain. His art is so unique. And I'm very honored that I will actually be getting a skull from him.
Ooh.
And I want to put it with like elements of my hometown in Indonesia. So like
A.
I'll leave it up to him how he's gonna do it. So it's kind of like a dream come true for me. Like I'll probably cry when I go to his tattoo shop because like I've really looked up to his art. Um, and I when I saw like that whole forced perspective thing with his skulls, like that what really makes me think, like in terms of scale models, like you can think outside the box. You can use like a cookie cutter element and make it your own. So sort of like different color schemes and dioramas and like doing different things because the way he does it, like he's the only one that I know who can do it the way he does. Like he can take such a basic shape, like a skull, but weave in his magic to sort of like make it look unique and still have the elements that people want in it. And I feel like that takes true talent, that takes true imagination.
Yeah.
He actually wrote a book called 100 Skulls, which is basically just a collection of all the skull art like he's done throughout his first early years of tattooing. Um, I actually like was really upset. I didn't get the early release of his book, but I will get one and get him to sign it when I go to Sydney to get a piece from him. But like it's so interesting and I can't wait to like have that book because I think I'll be referencing it a lot in my future Gunpla works, like in terms of the colors and everything. But like
Yeah.
it's so great. Like his art is like it's bold, it's colorful, um, and like it's classy because like it stands like the test of time. Like it's like I'll show you an example. Like that's just one of like his very many like skull tattoos. Like it's so unique and so different. Um, that's him, and then there's also another artist.
Hold on. I don't have a.
Oh, it's on the private chat thing.
Oh. Alright. I'll add in a picture of it after. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so like it's very. I'll show you more. Like yeah, so that's his specialty. So it's like forced perspective skulls, but it's also like its individual unique scene. Like I find that like that's so refreshing to see because I've never seen anything like that. At least when
I
I
love
first came
those.
into Australia,
I love
and then like
those.
I've seen people do like pop fiction or like pop culture or like even like their heritage, like they put it on like a skull like that, and it's just so different. So I'm excited to have my own. It'll be like what 15 years in the making. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's so hard to get appointments for. Um,
That's really
but
cool.
yeah, so like they're really great. Like Sam Kane is probably my biggest inspiration, and then there's also another like artist in Australia. I think her name is Natasha. Like she's from Melbourne. She does watercolor art. She does exhibitions, and
Mm.
that's like awesome as well. Cynthia, she used to be a tattooist at Alchemy Tattoo Studios, but now she's retired. But her tattooing style is watercolor on skin,
Ooh.
which a lot of people say, oh, watercolor on skin looks like shit because it's not going to be as vibrant like 3-4 years later. But the way she does it is that it actually holds the test of time. Like she was one of the leading watercolor artists in Melbourne, and
Mm-hmm.
she does like murals and like kind of like genderqueer art as well, which is like I found that really fascinating. Like really like kind of psychedelic colors, like very explosive, and it's like good to see. So
Yeah.
I really like people who works with like different colors and also be really creative with the space that they have. Like
Yeah.
they're great to see, like fantastic. And also not afraid to kind of like I guess challenge the status quo and kind of like be a bit different. Like kind of like redefining what art is in people's head, like kind of like making them question like what their assumptions of art is pretty
Oh yeah.
much.
That's
Yeah.
always the best to see, and I don't think we have a lot of that too often. Like very good examples, because sometimes we find out that you shouldn't meet your heroes.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
Ooh, alright. Let's see. Do you have tips for artists looking to connect with their local art scene?
Sorry, artists connecting.
Do you have tips for other artists trying to connect with their local art scene?
I guess the best way is to join your local scale model club first if you're a scale modeler. Because from then it opens up to other art avenues as well. Because some people, you know, they know people in galleries. Because like if you go to a scale model club, chances are you'll see artists there too. There do stuff other than scale models. So if you are a scale modeler, definitely go to your local club. Like I'm part of my local club and lots of friendly people, a lot of free tutorials, a lot of free workshops, which is really good. Like for figure painting, mixing paints, automotive, something. Um, if you love like if you love tattoo culture like me, like I know there's a lot of conventions, but also there's a lot of like I wouldn't say like tattoo clubs. Like I know in Canberra we have like gatherings at like tattoo shops, like on flash days and stuff, like to fundraise. Like it's really good gathering. Like you get to see like art and like people sell their prints and stuff. Like I've been to a couple. Like it's really good. You don't have to get tattooed. If you just like art, you
Yeah.
just go in, like check it out. But if you're like big into tattoo culture, then there's a lot of expos. Like Australia is spoiled because like there's one in Melbourne like next month, and then there's like two in Sydney, like coming up. Like it's gonna be big. If you're into painting and stuff, to be honest, it depends what what you're painting or the subject matter. If you're into pop culture, like there's plenty of discord, plenty of groups of like fan arts, and like look at Tumblr. Like there's like so many. You can be a part of that.
Mhm.
Even though like it's really hard sometimes to get into it when you're just starting. If you're into Gunpla, honestly, I think I can say Gunpla is a little bit competitive at the moment, like to join any particular club or anything. So my advice pretty much for Gunpla is just do your own thing and the club will find you. Like you'll get adopted. Honestly, like
Mhm.
that's the best approach to it. Like don't try to fit in or, you know, be with any other people or something. I'm not saying like don't make friends, like make friends, but don't make it like too much of an emphasis to like belong. Like just keep doing your art and like people will gather around you. Like I feel like that's the best. I think that's for every art,
Yeah.
you know, just keep putting your art out there, and then you know you have people who are like genuinely interested in your art, and then you feel like you don't even need to try like justify your existence.
Yeah.
It just comes to you. It's like, you know, it's better to attract bees with honey than with vinegar. So just keep pumping out your work. Like don't get involved with drama and just like, yeah, they'll come to you. It's easier than you think. Like that.
If to quote one of my favorite sci-fi films, "Build it and they will come,"
Yeah.
which is true. Just be weird and like people vibe with it. It's 2024. People like weird stuff. Just vibe. No
Hmm.
need to, you know, mask or all that
Yeah.
jazz. Just be weird. How do you think we got here?
Yeah, I'm weird. That's why I'm here.
Yeah, I'm you know I'm weird. Anybody who watches this channel or reads the blog knows I'm weird. But yeah. You know, just be weird. Weird
Yeah,
people.
weirdos attract each other.
Yeah,
Nothing wrong with that.
yeah. So we hit our final question. Are you ready for it?
Yeah, hit me.
How do you define success as an artist?
Oh, I'm gonna get a cup of tea. Hang on a minute. It's such an intense question that I need to get a cup of tea. No,
Mm-hmm.
it's actually easy for me. What defines success for me personally is just seeing my vision come to life. If it comes to life, if I have something in my head and I executed it and it works, I've succeeded. Like I'm really is. I'm a simpleton. I'm that simple. I don't care about followers. I don't care about reach, engagement, or monetization or sponsorship. If I told my client I'm gonna make a KFC Gunpla and it's gonna look sick, I'll have
Mm-hmm.
Colonel Sanders' face on the shield, and they're like, "Okay, cool, make it work." And I made it work, and it looks awesome, and they love it. I've succeeded. Like that's that's literally. I am simple.
Hey.
It was because sometimes like you can have an idea in your head, but then it didn't quite work out the way you wanted.
Mm,
But for me, if I pitch an idea, I think this will look really cool. I think you will like it. This is my idea. This is my vision, and it worked. And like in the end result's great. That's all I care about. I've succeeded.
yeah.
that for me personally, like that's how I think. Like that's how I like what makes make what makes you feel accomplished. Like what does accomplishment as an artist mean to me? It's like when my vision comes to life. Like it's as easy and as simple as that. And I feel a lot of people miss that these days. It's like, oh, I
Like,
want to be really famous artist. I want to be like I want a ton of followers. I want to get a fuck ton of commission. I'm just like, no, if I just pitch a KFC Gundam and it works, then that's all I care about. Like it's I've succeeded.
mm-hmm. Like that's. I love it. I love asking this question just because I love the answers. Like, it's so
Oh.
nice to see. And like, I'll try and pitch it as like the end question, and that doesn't happen very often. But I do love to see it because success is so personal to whoever is doing whatever. That
Mm. Yeah,
like,
it's just I'm still looking for someone to take the plunge and let me make KFC Gunpla, please, someone, anyone.
um, I will pay you in Monopoly money. Like, um, here's I got a cool dice. I can give you that.
We should do a swap though one day. It'd be cool.
Man, that'd be cool. Like, the project I'm working on, though, like, I'm actually doing diorama stuff. Like, and not even like my tiny dioramas, like these ones, but actual, like, big dioramas. Because I got this dude cranking out.
Oh, that's cool. Oh yeah, the goop.
And then I have a few other ones. I got really pissed off today because I dropped one.
Oh.
And like nothing major broke except some of like the plastic, so I had to go in and like make it a little more thicker than I wanted it to, but that's life. Sometimes you get gooped, sometimes you do the gooping, but there's
You
always
do
gonna
the
be goop.
gooping.
You know?
You
Back what we can
goopers gotta goop.
back what we can take away from this. I mean, but you know, even that success is in like the eye of the beholder. It's so you gotta love to see it. Um, Speed question: which Gundam pilot could you take in a fight?
Which Gundam pilot?
Yep. Fist fight. No mech fight.
I don't watch enough anime to know, but I'm pretty sure I can take Soletta in a fight.
Fist fight, no mech.
Yeah, I can beat up Soletta. Like 100%. Like, cause like she's pretty. I mean, Miorin beats her up all the time. Like, how can can it be realistically, really?
And you heard it here, folks. That's the end of our interview. Throwing hands and discussing art. We'll see you on the next one.
See you later.
Back your rap.
Yeah, like it can't be